Imagine boarding a plane on Christmas Eve when lightning rips the aircraft apart. Minutes later, you're plummeting nearly 2 miles out of the sky. No parachute, no rescue, just the endless Amazon rainforest waiting below. Lancer Flight 508 had already earned a reputation for poor maintenance and aging equipment. The airline had suffered multiple accidents in the years leading up to Juliane's flight, details that only surfaced publicly after the disaster. The Lockheed Electra aircraft was filled with families, students, and travelers heading home for Christmas. None could have imagined the storm waiting beyond the Andes. This is the true story of Juliane Koepcke, the girl who should not have survived. Welcome to Series of Survival, where every episode brings you true stories of people who should not be alive, but are. Tonight's story is one of the most unbelievable survival tales in history. Juliane Koepcke was born in 1954 in Lima, Peru, the daughter of German zoologists Hans Wilhelm and Maria Koepcke. Her parents had moved to Peru to study wildlife, and together they ran a research station deep in the Amazon rainforest. From an early age, Juliane grew up surrounded by the jungle, learning how to recognize plants, track rivers, and respect the dangers of the wild. These lessons from her parents would later mean the difference between life and death. On Christmas Eve, 1971, Juliane boarded a flight with her mother, Maria, from Lima to Pucallpa. They were on their way to spend the holidays with her father at his research station in the Amazon. What was meant to be a joyful family reunion would instead turn into one of the most unbelievable survival stories in history. Juliane Koepcke was flying Lancer Flight 508 from Lima to Pucallpa. The flight should have taken less than an hour, but as they crossed the Amazon, a violent storm struck. The plane shook. Overhead compartments burst open. Lightning lit the cabin. At 21,000 feet, a bolt of lightning tore through the aircraft. The fuselage disintegrated in mid-air. Weather reports that day warned of severe thunderstorms over the jungle. Other airlines had chosen to delay their flights, but Lancer continued. Pilots would later be criticized for flying directly into cumulonimbus clouds, towering thunderheads capable of tearing metal apart with turbulence and lightning. Juliane, still strapped to her seat, was sucked into the sky. She plummeted almost 2 miles. Eyewitnesses on the ground reported seeing burning debris streaking through the clouds like falling stars. Scientists estimate Juliane's fall lasted less than a minute, yet in that time she tumbled through multiple air currents. She lost consciousness before slamming into the jungle canopy. Juliane awoke in the mud. She was injured. A broken collarbone, deep cuts, a swollen eye. But she was alive. Around her there was no wreckage, no voices, only the endless roar of the Amazon rainforest. She had no food, no supplies, no shoes. But Juliane remembered her parents' survival advice. Follow water downstream. Rivers lead to people. For days she staggered through the rainforest. Mosquitoes swarmed her wounds. She drank dirty rainwater and nibbled candy from a wrecked seat cushion. At night, she lay alone under the canopy, listening to the growls of predators in the dark. By day 9, her wounds were crawling with maggots. She discovered an abandoned hut with a jug of gasoline. In desperation, she poured it on her arm. The pain was blinding, but the parasites died. It was her only chance to keep moving. That hut was a miracle. It belonged to forest workers who'd left supplies behind weeks earlier. In that moment, the smell of gasoline meant hope. Juliane's medical instincts kicked in. She knew parasites could cause fatal infection. The gasoline burned her skin, but the maggots floated to the surface. Pain was survival. On day 11, stumbling and delirious, Juliane found a group of lumber workers on the riverbank. They took her in, treated her wounds, and eventually led her back to safety. Out of 91 passengers, she was the only survivor. Experts believe Juliane survived because her row of 3 seats acted like a parachute, slowing her fall as it spun through the storm. The updraft may have lifted her just enough, and the jungle canopy broke her final impact. But here's the chilling part. At least 14 other passengers also survived the breakup, only to die before rescue ever came. After she recovered, Juliane returned to the jungle with search teams. Together, they located the crash site and began recovering the victims who hadn't made it. On January 12, 1972, her mother's body was among those found. Juliane not only survived the unthinkable, she went on to follow in her parents' footsteps, becoming a biologist and dedicating her life to studying the Amazon rainforest that nearly claimed her. She has shared her story in books, films, and lectures, reminding the world of both the brutality and beauty of nature. And as of today, in 2025, Juliane is still alive at 71 years old, living proof of one of the greatest survival stories in history. Juliane Koepcke's survival wasn't luck, it was courage, knowledge, and determination. But imagine yourself in her place. Would you have lasted even one night in the Amazon? Share your thoughts below. We read every comment. If you want more unbelievable true stories of people who defied death itself, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you'll never miss the next survival story.